Be strong.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the True Blues podcast. Today we're doing something slightly a bit different, obviously with it being international break. No game to review at the moment. Obviously got West Brom coming up on Saturday lunchtime. But today you're joining us in ranking the current Chelsea squad. Today I'm joined by a special guest, a True Blue in his own way, not a Chelsea True Blue, but a Lech Poznan True Blue. And his name is Matty Brzezinski. Hello, Cheeky.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. It's good to be here. I'm really looking forward to this. Obviously, a neutral, so
Exactly. That's exactly why I got on the podcast, mate. I thought it'd be good to have someone who, Lech Poznan, Poland team. You don't really follow anyone. You don't follow anyone in the Premier League. The only team you kind of have a soft spot for is, I'd say, Bayern Munich because of your love for Lewandowski. Is that fair comment?
Our beautiful striker. Yeah, I don't really have any hatred or any bias to any Premier League teams. Man, you can do one, but that's about it, really.
Exactly. We've got no problem with that at all, mate.
And Pep. Oh, no.
And who, sorry?
And Pep Guardiola, but let's just leave it there.
That's not a bad shout. So today what we're going to be doing is we thought it'd be a bit unfair to rank the Chelsea players on their current performances in the league. A, because, the league's not quite finished, and B, because some of the players, i.e. Timo Werner, Havertz, etc., have only been here just over half a season. So it'd be a bit unfair to compare their Chelsea careers to, someone like Dave, who's been here for 10 years, whatnot. And so we're going to compare their whole career so far. Cheeky suggested we start with keepers first, so we'll jump straight in with the keepers. First of all, I'm pretty sure he's still the most expensive goalkeeper in the world, Kepa Arrizabalaga. And as the guest, Cheeky, where do you think he should be put?
See, I know there's going to be, if we're saying Chelsea, it's pretty much a bit of a donkey signing. But I want to say there's always still potential. And the thing is, the only reason why I'm saying that is I forgot which commentator said it, but maybe Kepa doesn't really belong in the Premier League because he's a very small goalkeeper. I would say in Spain, he would still be quite, at least average, but...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've actually said that on the podcast, mate. It shows you're a true fan.
Maybe it was you. And I'm just
I think I said it on the podcast to Kieran. I think I said he struggles when he, crosses come in the box. He's not confident. He's not commanding, is the word. He's not a bad shot stopper, but, when you're coming up against like Ben Mee and Ashley Barnes of Burnley, that's when he'll really struggle. He's good out from the back usually, but obviously his confidence sort of weaken that a little bit. But I surprisingly don't actually think he's a bad keeper.
Neither do I. I do genuinely think in Spain or perhaps Italy or France, I don't think he would be that bad at all. Obviously, they're a bit weaker leagues and physically wise as well. But yeah,
agreed. So which category do you think he goes in?
See, it's tough. If we're saying Chelsea, it should be donkey realistically, but
it should be.
It's up to you, really.
I was between average and donkey. I thought
I wish there was another category where we could put him in, but it just depends if you want to be nice. You're the Chelsea fan as well.
It is actually a really tricky one. I think we might have to go donkey.
Yeah.
I actually, before today when I was looking into doing this, I actually didn't put him in there. I put him in average. But then I'm going to talk about another player hopefully quite soon, and he will he will probably explain my reasoning why he's gone in that category. So for now, at least for now, we might be able to change it at the end if there's something we don't like.
If we're feeling nice,
we'll put him. We might move him. But anyway, the next one is we'll go for our current number one. We'll go for, I always get his first name wrong, Edouard Mendy. Edouard, isn't it?
Yeah, Edouard.
Yeah, we'll go for Edouard. I'm actually going to be bold and put him in the solid player category.
And that's where I have him as well. You can't go wrong with him.
Exactly. That's exactly why he's in that solid player category, because he doesn't he sometimes he has looked a bit shaky, but I don't think he's made a mistake, has he? Touch wood.
No. Yeah. But honestly, what is he, 6'6"?
He's a big boy, isn't he?
Perfect for this league, realistically, let's be honest. Maybe a bit better with his feet. I always think it's a bit dodgy, but
that's what worries me. His shot stopping absolutely fine. Cross is sensational. Feet,
exactly.
Yeah, feet is where it gets a bit. I have to clench my bum cheeks together for when he gets the ball at his feet.
And to be fair, also, I just like that lead save, for example. It's kind of those things that just show how his physique helps him as well. But I just think, like, also with the whole story behind him of how he actually got to Chelsea, I just think he deserves to be where he is there. Just solid player. Really
Agreed. So finally, the last keeper, Willie Caballero.
For me, it's just average.
That's exactly where I had him, mate. I had him in there as well.
Just a decent keeper, nothing wrong with him, but nothing special. It's just we'll do the job, basically.
Exactly, mate. And he hasn't made any mistakes. So you just can't really put him in another category, really.
No.
So I think he fits in there. He's one you can't really comment on too much. When called upon, he's done fine and done bits. So yeah, I think average is fair enough. 38 years old. I wouldn't really expect anything differently, really. I think he's 38. Could be wrong. But
he's a very old boy, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very good keeper. Nothing wrong with him. But again, nothing special. Just in the middle.
Moving on into the defence. Where do you want to start first? Centre backs, right backs, or left backs, Cheeky?
Maybe go centre backs. Just go from the centre.
Centre backs. So we will go for. Shall we go for? We'll go for just to mix it up a bit. I'm going to put someone straight into the world class category, and that is Mr. Tiago Silva.
I'm never going to disagree with that. Truly.
Yeah, he's one of those players who you don't actually appreciate how good he is until you actually properly watch him week in, week out for me.
Exactly. And
he makes defending look effortless.
And he's just so good at reading the game, because obviously he's not the fastest player. I don't think he ever has been, personally. But it's just his awareness of where strikers move and where to be. And it's just he's always in the right place at the right time, what I'm trying to say.
Exactly, mate. You're going to love this. He actually just defends. If you could describe defending as swagger jagger, he would do defending as swagger jagger.
Do your viewers actually know what swagger jagger means?
No, we'll leave that to their imagination. See what they think swagger jagger means. But he certainly has a lot of it, the way he defends.
It is true.
But he does it. He does it in a solid way. He doesn't make mistakes. Like David Luiz technically has a bit of swagger the way he plays, but he's just liability is the word for David Luiz. Tiago Silva is the opposite.
Just a little bit. And also, I was going to say, we're obviously going to touch on Zuma later, but for example, having someone like Tiago Silva really does make a few defenders look a lot better than they actually are. And
exactly, mate. I think actually that can lead on perfectly to Zuma, who where do you have him?
I have him in bang old average.
Do you?
Yeah.
See, I'm actually going to be a terrible bloke and put him in donkey.
Oh my days! Really?
I've actually got a good reasoning behind this. I think my good colleague Kieran actually mentioned this, and he said, I'm pretty sure it's him, who said he thinks having better defenders around him makes him look better, i.e. him playing next to Tiago Silva makes Zuma look like a better defender.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's very much, again, like Kepa, kind of just in between average or donkey. It just depends how nice you're feeling.
Yeah. See, I do actually think technically he's a good defender. He defends well, he's quick, he's strong, etc. On the ball, he's got the Edouard Mendy vibes, and it's like clench those bum cheeks together when watching him. But he does make mistakes as well. I think he was at fault for the goal against Southampton.
Yeah, he was actually, yeah. I mean, that defence was parted like the Red Sea at that.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. And so for me, the reason he's gone donkey though is because if he really was a sort of a good defender, like when he went to Stoke, I know they're Stoke and whatnot, but Ryan Shawcross had been doing bits in the Prem for a few seasons before that. I know they were struggling, but Kurt Zuma, and I know he's coming off the back of an injury, but I kind of feel if he was a good defender, he would have had a bigger impact on that team than he did, and instead they got relegated.
Yeah, you're right. And the thing is, I feel like, obviously, I think there's been examples of many players where an injury came along and just completely destroyed them, and then they never recovered. And I feel like Zuma's one of those players that had that, because I do think that before that injury, he did look very promising, but it just
100%. I was in the same boat, mate. In the same boat. Right, I think we can move on to our next centre back, which we'll go for Andreas Christensen. Mm-hmm. See, I'm not. He is a tricky one. He is a tricky one.
I was going to say to you, if we're talking career, I always said to you, even before the season, that Christensen has this thing that I always thought, like, why is Chelsea not selling him? Like, when I compared him to any other defender that they had over the seasons, I was there like, why is he still there? Until this season, where I just think he's been the best centre-back that you've had, realistically. Like, over the course, obviously, Tiago's been injured, but he's been so composed on the ball. Very good ball-playing defender.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. He has been solid, hasn't he? But then also other times he's just shown that he can also be a bit of a liability. I feel like it all depends on the formation you play him in. I don't know if I'd still trust him in a 4-back.
No, I was going to say he can only play 3-back. He's one of those really one-dimensional players. Exactly,
and for that reason, I think there's only 2 categories he can go in, either potential or average. I think I originally had him in average.
Mm-hmm.
But could he have potential? He's still relatively young. I want to say he's 24. I could be wrong with that.
I mean, realistically, the way he plays, he doesn't have to be ever quick. So with experience, he could get better. But can he play ever a 2-back? I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. So I reckon for now, I think we've got to put him in the average. He's another one I think we can come back to.
Yeah. Although we have to agree, like this season he's been...
Yeah, this season he's been Maldini.
Player of the month nominee this month, so you can't...
Yeah, exactly. Remember to go out and vote for him if you still can. I'm not sure if you still can, but if you can, please do it.
Exactly.
It shows how much we know on True Blues podcast, because he'd already won our flipping Player of the month before, so it shows we're just ahead of the times over here. We're just ahead of our times in our football stuff.
Just so good.
Next one, who's also in the kind of the same well, he could, on his day, he could go on in any of the categories, and that's big boy Tony Rudiger. He potentially, last year when we lost, I want to say 3-1 to West Ham at the Olympic Stadium, he genuinely had one of the worst games I've ever seen a Chelsea player have.
I saw that game as well.
He was, I mean, mate, there was a ball in the corner. He defended it. All he has to do is clear it, and it's sorted. And he slices it out for a corner, and it's just like, you just knew as soon as he did that, we were going to concede from the corner. We had a record from conceding from set pieces, and they did.
I remember messaging you, I think, after that game, and you were not a very happy guy. I can imagine. I can remember that.
But then he's just got potential to be class. He's quick. He's that Atletico Madrid game. He was just on it.
And when he drives forward, he's also very good. There's that Leeds game, though obviously it was a 1-1, and I'm not saying that maybe it was the prettiest game of them all, but the amount of times that he drove forward and was actually pretty much the catalyst of doing anything, it was actually quite nice to see.
Exactly, mate. So I'm not gonna lie, he actually could be the hardest one that we're gonna have to putting in category today. Yeah, I genuinely don't know. What are you thinking?
See, the thing is, I was gonna say, swallow the pill and just put him in solid. Like, I mean, the thing is, he plays for Germany regularly now, especially like with Boateng retiring and stuff like that.
He was also linked with PSG and Jose Mourinho's Tottenham. I know
exactly.
Tottenham aren't, touch wood, the greatest team at the moment, but
I mean, they need defenders, obviously.
And Jose Mourinho knows a good player from a bad one. He usually does make the right signings. In all fairness to him, give him, the right funds and etc. So it sort of suggests he is in that. We'll stick him in solid. Be generous to him and stick him in solid player for now.
Yeah, I think so. Until obviously touch wood, he doesn't make any mistakes anytime soon.
Yeah.
But
Exactly. If we look like we've got too many solid players, then he might find himself in a different category. But
now we said this, he's going to score 2 on goals against West Brom, isn't he?
yeah. Well, funny enough, I think we've only conceded 2 goals in the double T era, and he scored one of them in the wrong net.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was brilliant, actually. Good finish.
It was, wasn't it?
I'll be proud of that.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, cheeky Mr. Sitter at Kings back in the day, and he has never forgotten it.
Nope, and no one
I haven't let you forget it. Yeah.
No one will. It was quite shocking, though. So. Yeah.
Anyway, moving swiftly on, we'll go to the big captain of the team, Cesar Azpilicueta, who for me is one category which he goes in, and I've got to put him in solid player.
And that's where I had him as well. Never been world class, but just like the thing is for Chelsea as well. What a player!
Yeah, I say it every podcast. He's seriously underrated. 400 appearances for the club, but for me, like I said, he's never been world class. He's always been solid. But for me to define world class, it's kind of like, could he get in any team in the world, or like every team in the world? And I don't know even if Dave at his peak would have got an every team in the world. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, I also think game changer. If I think world class, I'm there like that guy on his own could carry me to a victory. And I don't know if Dave is there.
Yeah.
Close, but not there.
I get what you mean. I mean, it is tricky for a fullback. I don't know if a fullback can often do that. The only time I can really remember that is, I want to say Ashley Cole. We'll say about 2005 against Cristiano Ronaldo. Maybe slightly later, 2008.
I want to say also, I don't know, the thing is I could be horribly wrong here, but I want to say Gareth Bale against Inter Milan.
I think he did play fullback. Yeah, that is a good shout. So exactly, they're the only two which sort of stand out. If you were saying to me about Dave, pick out, his best performance, I couldn't do that. Maybe that's a good thing because he's played so many. Because I couldn't pick out a time he's played badly. No. But when's the time he's really stood out?
Yeah, I just think he's just solid. Always like it, basically kind of like a James Milner. Just you'll know what you'll get from him. Nothing too special, but again, just so solid. And I don't think he's a fullback anymore. I think he's lost a bit of the touch of the pace.
Yeah. So. I've always thought he could play centre back. Like, I know he's technically a bit short, but I think he's got the game awareness and the defensive ability to be able to do that, in my opinion.
I think so too. I think he's more of a centre back now than he's a fullback, but he really does do a job.
Yeah, mate. Right, next up, we've still got a couple of defenders today. That's quite good. We will go for Marcos Alonso. Mm-hmm. And he is something that I mentioned that I was going to mention earlier, or linked to what I said earlier. I can't remember specifically what it was now. But I'm going to put him in the average column because I do think he is a donkey at times. Like, he was also with Rudiger on that day at West Ham. Absolutely just speechlessly awful. He was terrible. I remember, like, for their third goal, I think Yarmolenko scored it. And he managed to bomb up attacking, to create attacking a threat. I know we're chasing the game, but he managed to bomb forward, And then defensively, he was just jogging back. And when I mean jogging back, I mean like basically walking. And that's just what he's about, mate. He can be brilliant going forward, but do I trust him on that defensive? No, I do not. But the reason I've put him in average rather than donkey is because that year Antonio Conte was manager. He was magnificent, and he did play a big part in winning the league. So he can't be a donkey for me for that.
No, so what I actually had on him was, I remember before obviously he signed for Chelsea, he was at Sunderland but didn't really do much. But then he went to Fiorentina for 2 years. And in Italy, he was spoken about a lot. Obviously then went to Chelsea, had a bit of a, backing from Italy saying, okay, he's good. And obviously he came here, you kind of hope that he hit the ground running. He had that Antonio Conte year that was very good. But I genuinely do think he belongs as an average, purely on the same basis of what Christensen is there for. So one-dimensional. If you play him in a full-back, he's genuinely useless in my opinion. 5-back, he does again show that bit of quality, but yeah, if he had better physical, and a bit better work rates maybe, but yeah, very average player, I think.
Yeah, I think Mika Richards played with him at Fiorentina, and he said he had the best technique of a football player he's ever played with. Like his left foot is that good, and his touch and his control, finishing, etc., crossing.
I mean, that was it. That volley this year that he scored was just I don't know who against,
first game back against Burnley.
What a finish!
That just sums him up. He's got that ability, but just
just very one-dimensional and defending. I mean, the pace is just not there, really. Let's be honest.
If I was an opposition winger, I would love to go up against him. I genuinely would.
Yeah, I would too if I had any pace.
Whereas our next player, Emerson, is average because he just hasn't done anything good, but he hasn't done anything bad. I think he's a bit more solid, almost solid than Alonso.
I always feel bad for him because I genuinely don't think he ever got a chance.
No, me neither. Particularly in the beginning of Frank's reign, I think Frank started him, especially in the game 4-0 we lost to Man United. I didn't even think he was that bad. And for the next couple of games, he wasn't that bad. But then he picked up a slight knock. Then he went away with Italy and doing some World Cup qualifiers or whatnot. Euro qualifiers, sorry, it would have been at the time. And he got injured again. And he just fell out of the sort of pecking order. And he never really sort of recovered from that. But for me, he's just not done anything wrong from what I've seen. But he hasn't done anything good.
No. And the thing is, like, with obviously Alonso and who we're going to come up to, Chilwell, is just two players that maybe are not amazingly better, but I do think that maybe on paper they offer a little bit more than him. So he never really got that shout in. Yeah.
Where would you put Chilwell then?
Because he's so young, I want to say potential. I wouldn't say he's a solid player yet.
No, me neither.
But at Leicester, he's shown his colours. Obviously now pretty much on form, the second best left back after Shaw for England, has started a few qualifiers just gone. So I don't think there's anything wrong that he does. I think he can be like an Azpilicueta just on the left. Just nothing. I wouldn't say he's going to be world class, but
no, I can't see him getting that good. But I think he could do a job for us, really. He's looked like he's made an all right start. I'm quite a big fan of his, to be fair. I was a bit annoyed that we paid so much for a left back, but I mean, I can't.
It's just that England thing, isn't it? Like as soon as a player's English, it's just rockets the price.
Yeah, look at Harry Maguire, potentially the worst defender I've ever seen.
My days.
But we don't talk about Man United on there. We're True Blue podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, otherwise this would probably be a 24/7 live stream because I could talk about how bad he is all day.
Genuinely, it would take me like 20 minutes to get out what I want to say about him.
Yeah. And a player I've just realised that we missed actually is big boy Reece James. Mm-hmm. He's got to be potential. He's not far off solid player for me, but he's still got a mistake in him. So he's in that potential.
See, where I had him, the thing is, I love Reece James for one reason. He's a very cheeky bugger in the sense that,
he is.
like, it's always the throw-ins as well. He takes forever as well. He's very well built physically, very ready to play fullback. But I just feel like that technique, say for example, if he had Marcos Alonso's technique, he would be unbelievable.
Yeah. I think he has got the potential. It's like you saw him score that screamer against Brighton, first game of the season. He scored a couple of nice goals before. Like you said, that physical presence of it. That's why I just love him. He'll just do a step and he bars the person off the ball, win it just so casually. But then he's like sort of a bit like Chile. He has got a bit of a mistake in him. He's still learning, only 21, so I can't fault him. Not saying that's his fault. He's still learning. But like against
very young fullbacks.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So the future's positive for Chelsea in that aspect.
I think so.
I'd actually quite like to see him play CDM one day, just for the bands. Really? I'm pretty sure he played a bit there for Wigan, but
he did actually. Yeah,
I think he could do something there. Like we said, that physical presence. He's not slow, and he's a very good crosser of the ball. So
imagine him and Kante at centre mid.
It could be a job. But I think we're
just trying to get through that.
Exactly, mate. We're well stocked in that position, aren't we? So unfortunately for him, we've got 4 fantastic centre mids who are good. There's also a lad in the academy called Lewis Bate who's meant to be a very good player. He hasn't played for the first team yet, but he's been in the squad a couple of times. So I don't know if it's, maybe it might work out well for him because then he just focuses on being a right wing back. Because if you look at, was it Maitland-Niles at Arsenal who said he didn't want to play wing back and to play midfield, and I can't remember ever seeing him play for Arsenal again. Obviously, he probably has, but not nearly as much.
He's played left wing back, right wing back, never in the centre.
He's at West Brom now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And I'm pretty sure he's also playing right wing back.
Worked out well for him playing under Sam Allardyce.
Exactly.
Right, next one. We are going to go for...
Midfielders, right?
Sorry?
Midfielders now, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is. So we're going to go for Mr. Billy Gilmore. And he's just got getting potential for me.
Yeah. You can't put him anywhere else. How young is he now? I
think he's just about to turn 19. 19 or 20? One and two.
I mean, there was that one game last season. Obviously, people just hyped him up after that, but he's just got so much to learn. And I think he's got quite a lot of players around him that he can learn from as well.
Yeah.
So.
But it's just the fact, I think he was playing against like Fabinho, who was the best midfielder, maybe not the best midfielder in the league, but that was obviously KDB, but was seriously one of the best players in the league. For that's shown this year for Liverpool. He hasn't played centre mid, and they've struggled.
He played one centre mid game against Leipzig now, and he was just incredible. So
exactly. And then Billy Gilmore managed to hold his own. Was that his first game? I think maybe in the FA Cup, and he managed to hold his own and win man of the match. He's just. I honestly think he is potentially the best player I've seen for someone of his age, like at 18 years old. Like, just, I don't think technically he's probably as good as some other players. I can't really name a specific one, but I just think his complete like game awareness is just sensational. He just knows where he wants to play the pass. He knows where the opposition are going to pass it. He's just going to be a brilliant footballer. He really is. And
hopefully he'll stay with Chelsea.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, mate. Obviously, N'Golo's just turned 30 the other day. Happy birthday to the big boy. Kovacic surprisingly only 26, which is mad. Yeah.
I think he's like 28.
Exactly, yeah. I think a lot of people think that. Who else have we got in centre mid? Georginio, he's 27, 28. So we
all in their prime, really.
Yeah, exactly. The only one is N'Golo sometimes struggles with injuries. I mean, might as well talk about him now, and we don't even have to discuss which category it is.
Please, let's not discuss it at all.
Yeah,
World Cup winner.
He's genuinely, for me, the only player in the Chelsea squad that gets in every single team in the world.
He is, and it's just because the thing is, I've seen Cesk's tweet about it, and it's true. Like the way he actually plays, obviously he's known for his interceptions and his defensive work, but there's so much more to him. And if you actually do watch him properly, it's not even that. It's like bringing the ball forward, passing it. He is the ultimate midfielder. Well,
look at Atletico Madrid, 90th minute. We're bombing on the counter, and
that was serious
up there. And I think Sarri got a lot of criticism for playing him in a three in midfield, but I think he was not right. But I think he was going in the right direction. That he's got more to him than just a CDM.
He does.
And he's currently my favourite Chelsea player.
He's incredible. And like you said, that run, he was just doing a dummy run. He did all of that to do a dummy run.
Yeah,
incredible.
Exactly. That just sums him up. Just playing for the team and not himself. Just love the play. We shall go for. Shall we go for an easy one, tricky one? Well, I suppose all the midfielders are quite tricky. I think
they are very tricky. I must admit.
We'll go for Georginio. And do you have a category for him?
So, Georginio for me, I put him. See, the thing is, I put him solid just purely because of his career. Ooh, at Napoli. He was a very good player. And I know, obviously, I put you might be different, but for me, it's just I always find it funny. The only thing I always find funny about him, except the fact that he's a solid player, very good player on his day, is just if someone takes it past him, it's just a guaranteed yellow card.
It cracks me up. It cracks me up, mate. Literally, I'll be sitting there with a beer, and I'll see him just literally, maybe not lose the ball, but I'll see someone with the ball next to him. I'll just go and grab the beer, mate, and have a drink, because I know it's going to be a foul.
Exactly. he's very slow in that sense. I did put him solid. He's not really potential. I don't know if I should put him average. I think.
Yeah, he just doesn't even. It's just funny because he doesn't even try and tackle Cheek. He just tries and fouls.
No, he literally just drags people down.
Yeah, we'll stick him in solid. We'll stick him in solid for now. I think I actually had him in average before, just because, he doesn't do that many great things for the Blues and whatnot. But I know you watch a lot more European football, and I think you made a valid point. It's not just his Chelsea career; it's like sort of
If it was just Chelsea, we're probably talking average. If we're talking like Napoli days as well, he was very big there. Obviously, they never really won anything spectacular, so the league or anything, because Juventus were just incredible.
Yeah.
But
I think he does get maybe a bit more stick than sometimes he deserves. He gets a lot of criticism for passing sideways and whatnot, but then when he doesn't play, you can tell he doesn't play because the tempo of the game is very lethargic and etc. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Maybe I think you could be. I think that's a fair play to you. I think that's a good call. And I'm actually going to stick the next two midfielders in solid player as well. I know you disagree with one of them. Kovacic just goes in there for me. He won Chelsea Player of the Year last year. Yeah, he did last year.
He was incredible,
and he was incredible last year.
Real Madrid as well. Pretty good career.
Exactly. I know he didn't play a lot for Real Madrid, but he still won 3 Champions Leagues.
Yeah, it still is. Yeah, if you look at his bio, it will be there. So
exactly. So it doesn't. If you look at Wikipedia, it's not going to say he played or how many he scored. It's just going to say Champions League winner. And that's all that matters, really. And
just like Ryan Brewster did it for Liverpool. Jesus,
don't get me started. Him.
That was still
salty.
For a long time.
Still salty after those under-21s.
It's okay. I was going to say it's just that meme of him sitting in that barber's chair of just him with this medal, and I'm just there like, what have you done?
Yeah, I actually know what you mean now. Yeah. Yeah.
But
look how it's getting for him relegated with Sheffield United. Fair enough. But back to Kovacic. First year Sarri, he was a bit meh. He would definitely be in the average category. But since then, he's really kicked on, and he shows a lot more maturity. He feels like a lot more mature player than a 26-year-old should be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Composed on the ball, offers something different. He can dribble out from midfield. I just feel to take him to that next level, he's missing that creative spark where he needs to play the pass a bit quicker, or a killer pass in behind, or he needs to have a long shot and score some long shots. I know he scored against Valencia last year and Everton, which were both outside the boxes, but he needs to do that a bit more often, because otherwise he can be a bit predictable, or Chelsea become predictable.
Yeah. But the one thing I'm going to say about him is just a fighter, isn't he? He really is.
He plays for the badge. I do like him.
And that's why he's a solid player.
Exactly, mate. I'd be happy if Chelsea offered him a 5-year new contract tomorrow. I'd say that's fine. I thought originally 40 million for him, absolute rip-off. But
if we're looking at now, these days now, 2021, that's not a bad deal at all.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. How much did Arsenal pay for Thomas Partey? It was about the same, wasn't it? I'm not saying comparing the two.
About the same. Yeah, I don't think they're the same kind of player, but again,
but just sort of looking at price tags for midfielders, it's sort of
a good deal.
Yeah, exactly. I think so as well. Let's just hope he can keep fit.
Exactly.
Our final midfielder is Mason Mount, who I know you disagree with this one, but I'm going to put him in solid player.
See, the thing is, I actually did more considering about it, and the only reason why I wanted to put him in potential was because I wanted to say that he's potentially a world-class player, but he is a very solid player.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's far off world-class. I really don't. The way he plays is just majestic.
Exactly, mate. The way I was thinking about it, if he was to play at the standard he's playing at now for the rest of his career, he would be a solid player, wouldn't he?
Yeah, definitely. If he can add a little bit more to it.
Yeah, if he could add a bit more, even just slightly bit more, like maybe some more goals, which he's done since Double T's come in, he will get world class.
Yeah, exactly. And he's very consistent. That's what I love about him as well. He works really hard, but he works hard every game, which is just what you need, really.
He's any coach's dream. He just plays for the badge, doesn't care about himself. He just plays for the team. And I think I've mentioned it on a podcast before, Kieran. I don't mind if players have bad games as long as you can tell they're working hard, etc. And
Exactly.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know if I've ever seen him have a bad game, but he just works his socks off.
Exactly. He is a truly brilliant player, very versatile as well, and lucky to have him in the squad, I think.
Yeah, mate. So midfielders. Well, we're kind of moving on to forwards. There's two players who probably could play midfield from the forwards, so we'll go on to those two first. And it's first of all, we will go for Mr. Kai Havertz.
Mm-hmm.
There's sort of only one category for him, which is potential, surely.
Yeah, I think so too.
I know you're a big fan of his, and you also watch a lot of German football. Did you watch a lot of him at Bayer Leverkusen, or not really?
I did get a few glimpses, and it's just like, I feel under Lampard, he didn't really. When I saw him starting games and centre mid or getting put there, I was just like, this is not where he's supposed to be. In this kind of false nine position, I think he's shown it a few times already. Obviously, that man of the match performance, that he really can play. He's a very good player, offloads the ball really well, and he gets into the positions where, yeah, he just makes things happen. And I feel like if you just give him a bit more time, I mean, you're looking at a guy that's 6'2", quite quick for his actual height as well. So he could really be a monster if he just gets given time and some, just gets adapted to the Premier League, which is obviously a bit more physical and a bit more physically demanding. But I do think that he can become, if not solid, then he could even become world class. He really can.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I just feel like he's got to go through that Leon Goretzka process, which just puts on a bit of muscle, which
he does.
As a 21-year-old, yeah, you can't blame him as a 21-year-old, but he's got the first touch to really be class, I think, and he comes into some brilliant positions. Put that with a bit of confidence, and I think he'll be absolutely fine, mate. I really do, and
I really do as well.
I know we get linked with a lot of signings, like Haaland's been linked, but I mean he's been linked to every big club in Europe. I know I've said I'd quite like Harry Kane, but I'm happy with him being potentially the Chelsea sort of number 9/10 for the foreseeable future. Not foreseeable, but for the long-term future. To be honest, I think he has got it in him.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a very much kind of similar position to what Roberto Firmino plays for Liverpool, but I just think that I think Havertz would score a lot more goals if he's given that kind of role. I think he's going to really flourish.
Yeah, and so the next player I'm going to mention is Hakeem Zia.
Yeah,
got a category for him?
I just want to say solid player. If you look at him, and obviously he was in that Ajax dream team or that golden generation, and he was such a baller. The stuff that he did is just he's already proven. Like, obviously he has an injury, so it'll take him a bit more time, but he already proven on some occasions why you've obviously bought him, and I still think he was a steal. I mean, what did you even pay for him? I genuinely think it was
I want to say 37 mil.
For now, for how much wingers are now, I just think 37 million for Ziyech.
Especially for his stats. Like when we bought him, his stats the previous year were like 7 goals, 20 assists.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, he for me, when Chelsea were playing well under Frank between Christmas and October, we played well because he'd come back from injury and he was moving the ball quickly. His crosses were unplayable. Then he got injured. That's when it went downhill. Then he came back from injury and he did struggle. He still kind of is. I think he's kind of regaining that form now. He saw a celebration where he tried to silence the haters or whatnot. It's good to see. It shows the boy's got confidence.
And whenever I see him in interviews as well, he's very mature, a very, very mature player. Really does want to get it going, and really good for Chelsea, I think.
Exactly so, mate. Right, who do we go for next? I want to say Hudson-Odoi because he obviously played wing back, right wing. We'll go for him. He goes in the potential one, I think.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah,
he's still young. I think he. Don't want to say he's got an attitude problem, but I hope it doesn't prevent him from being really as good as he could be, to be honest.
It's not as bad as Dominic Solanke. I remember that. Jesus, what did he want? What wage did he want from Chelsea? Where is he now? Where is he now?
He's a championship striker, isn't he, at best?
and you can't even score. But but honestly, yeah, I think didn't Cho have a injury, quite a bad one? Like he didn't.
Yeah, he did. He ruptured his ACL about 2 years
I
ago.
think exactly. So I still think
was it ACL or Achilles? It was his Achilles. It was his Achilles.
Maybe it was Achilles. Yeah. So when you have a big injury like that, you just need some time. But he's already proven it on occasion.
To be fair, I do remember him coming out and saying actually that he was actually scared of getting injured again after that. So it clearly knocked his confidence. I just hope he's not too cocky or arrogant or anything, thinking he should be playing, here, there, and everywhere. I did feel for him when he got subbed against Southampton because he has been really good for us since Christmas. Starting to drop off a little bit now, but I mean, I can't really blame him. He's 1 minute he's playing wing back, next minute he's playing like right forward in a front three, next minute he's playing right wing or on the left. It's tricky if you're not in the same position.
Exactly, and when you have competition like he does for spaces, because I mean you have Ziyech, you have Mount, you have Pudusic, which we're going to come up to, Werner. It's not easy to get into that team, especially when they're playing well.
Exactly so, mate. Exactly so. And someone who is finding that difficult is Christian Pudusic. Mm-hmm. He's obviously he's had a couple of injuries last year, and he's now struggling to get in the team, and he seems to have lost his confidence as well because of his age and the ability that he showed last year, particularly after lockdown or whatever you like to call it. He's got to be in the potential category, isn't he?
Yeah, he does, and he's another one of those talents. Again, coming from Borussia Dortmund, they have this magical ability to really develop players. You have Pulisic, Usman Dembele, now Haaland, Goretzka, Lewandowski, Hummels. You can go on and on and on. And yeah, he's one of those. And I think with a bit more confidence going back into him, if he can play like he did after that COVID break, there's nothing stopping him, I don't think.
Yeah, I'd agree, mate. I'd agree. I feel like a couple of the Chelsea players need a pre-season.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll probably get a proper pre-season with COVID and whatnot.
And maybe they might just have now, isn't it, as well?
Exactly. Maybe. I mean, obviously he won't play in the Euros because he's American.
No, before we say this, I know that just before anyone roasts me to death.
No, but I get your point. Say if Havertz goes and plays for Germany as a wonder of a tournament, that's a game changer.
Exactly. Brings back his confidence.
Yeah. Exactly. Same could be said for Timo Werner. I'm going to put him in the potential category. Do you reckon you obviously know a bit more about German football than I do. Is he there? To me, he seems like they're kind of their only striker. I know they got players who could play up front, but they're not really out and out forwards. He kind of is.
Yeah, they don't really have anyone, I would say, that is on that level, if that makes sense. They always had that problem. I think it was maybe last few tournaments they played Gomez, that tall striker, because that was literally their best choice, and he wasn't exactly a world beater. But I think Werner is kind of on his own there at the moment when it comes to strikers. I just wish he gets his confidence back, because when he played in the Bundesliga, he was very much kind of like Aubameyang was for Lewandowski. He was that second best striker. I mean, you can't say Lewandowski's world class, but Werner was always there chipping away at him with the goals. Very quick player, very versatile as well, now proving for Chelsea. But yeah, just needs that confidence really to score.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of his. I know he hasn't scored as much as he would have hoped, and Chelsea fans would have hoped. But he works his socks off, bless him. He never stops. Like, I know, I was also a big, your favourite player, Fernando Torres. I was a fan of his.
Oh, love him.
I think Timo tries harder than Torres. I think you could tell with Torres that he was lacking confidence and he almost didn't want to get in brilliant positions. He would drift out really wide when he was playing down the middle to sort of like try and get on the ball, but not get in a goal scoring position, if you get me. I know Timo plays a bit wider as well, but you feel like he's hungry for goals. He wants to score. He's just, when it goes wrong, it crushes him.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, the thing is, we can't forget, like, obviously, I know Chelsea fans are probably a bit annoyed that obviously you get a strike and he's not scoring, but at the same time, what is he, top assister, most penalties won? You can't forget about that. And he has changed a few games as well.
And if he was in confidence, took those penalties, say we score all of them, he's suddenly on about 17 goals.
And then people are going, oh, wow, he's doing really well. It's just like Bruno Fernandes, let's be honest. That's just...
Exactly.
Bruno Fernandes.
He seems to follow us around wherever we go, cheeky Bruno Fernandes, especially on this podcast. I think he seems to get mentioned quite a lot.
Yeah.
Usually for going missing against Chelsea, but hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, we hope so too.
Yeah. Next one is Mr. Underrated, Olivier Giroud.
You cannot. He's the sexiest man on the planet when it comes to football. He just is. Any guy would say it. Like he is honestly so underrated.
He is. He's definitely a solid player.
World Cup winner. You can't forget that. And he's not like he's done it just off merit or something like that, or he's just put into that team. He is really a talented player. Just doesn't get mentioned because obviously you have in the French team you have players like Mbappe, Griezmann, and stuff like that. And obviously he's not the first person out on everyone's lips. And yeah, it kind of gets forgotten about, but it's just proven against Atletico what quality he has. Such a 6'4", something like that, 6'3" player, just doing an overhead kick, perfect overhead kick.
When he's on form, he has got that match winner vibe about him. I'd like to see it a bit more because he doesn't always do it, but when he's on song, mate, he's just, you don't get strikers like him about anymore.
No, it's really difficult to find number 9s.
Exactly. Like you said, he is a proper number 9.
Very much so.
I think Kane could go that route. I think Kane is a better player than him, don't get me wrong, but as Kane gets older and he loses that yard of pace, if he was to play like Giroud did, Kane could genuinely play for like years to come as well. But I can't see any young players playing like Giroud. Haaland's quick as well as strong. I don't know if Haaland could probably hold the ball up as well as Giroud either.
No, but then he is very young still, so
yeah. So like that's the same with Timo Werner. He's played in Germany where there's a set weight of football. I know he's just turned 25, so that's still pretty young. And that's what I like about Timo Werner as well. And I've gone off on a bit of a tangent here. He knows that he's struggled. He knows that he's got to adapt his game. He knows what he has to do. He's just got to sort of apply it now. And I hope for himself that he does that.
Exactly, and like I said about Timo Werner, he's never scored before. He knows how to do it. He done it in Germany. It's just doing it in the Prem.
Whereas Giroud is already built for the Prem. The Prem is suited to his style of football.
Yeah.
So that's one for him. Anyway, moving on to someone who wishes he could be as good as Giroud. Saving the best till last, shall we go for? Oh, Tammy, Abraham. And he goes straight into the donkey category. I think to Chelsea fans and even probably football fans, I don't need to explain why he's in that category, but I will anyway.
It's a bit offensive to donkeys.
Exactly. I genuinely think a donkey could probably have a better first touch than he does. I struggle to cheeky. What is he good at? What is he
Not
good
much. At? Not much.
I'll tell you what he's good at. He's good at working his socks off.
That's right.
When the ball gets to his feet in the box, he does finish it, but he doesn't make the right movements for me. No. He's not quite quick enough to get in behind, and he's not strong enough to hold the ball up. He's got the potential to do both, and he does neither.
Yeah, I was literally going to say I've said this to you before. When you look at players like Lewandowski, like Suarez and stuff like that, people go, "Oh, they're goal poachers. They just stand in the box." Yes, but you have to actually know where to stand. Whereas I don't think Tammy has that at all. Like he doesn't. There's so many places where I look at the Chelsea team, there's a cross or there's something going into the box, and I'm just there like, if Lewandowski or Suarez were there, that was a goal, and that's literally 2-3-0. But Tammy's just never there.
Exactly so, mate. I know Didier Drogba wasn't on fire when he first joined Chelsea, so I kind of get Tammy's even younger than that. I think Didier came. Did he come at 27? Maybe
He came
even.
late.
Yeah, maybe
He came late.
slight. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. So Tammy's only 22, still learning as well. But for me, he only scores against Championship/Premier League relegation potential teams. I
He doesn't really
can't
have that.
exactly. So yeah, he's just got to be in that category of a donkey.
Yeah, I think maybe say for example a attacking maybe like I don't know. I would say maybe a loan would do him very well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but like, who would you even loan him to? I know he did all right at Swansea. He got into double figures. Fair enough. They got relegated that year, so I'm not saying he did badly. I'm saying he actually did quite well. Score that many goals in a team which don't probably provide that many chances.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's been linked with West Ham. Maybe that might be a good move for him.
It could be because they need a striker. Obviously, Antonio plays there now, and you can't say anything wrong about him this season.
Exactly, he's guaranteed. Probably, I know Antonio. I'll probably start Antonio ahead of him at the moment, but he's probably more guaranteed minutes there than he would be at Chelsea, which is what he needs at that age to see what he can do. And then West Ham, as you've seen this year, have been a very good side. So.
But also, there's one thing I was going to say is Tammy. It just depends what happens to Giroud, I think, because I don't know if you'll be able to keep him on the bench with the minutes that he's playing. So
true.
I think
that's a very good call.
It'll be a very interesting summer for sure because Giroud needs minutes, and yeah.
I unfortunately think Giroud will leave. I think he might go to somewhere like Juventus or Paris. But not that I can see him getting in the Paris team, but a team like that.
It could be a very interesting window. Maybe if Haaland comes, then Tammy.
Exactly.
I don't think there's a point of him staying.
Or if we go looking for a striker like Haaland or Kane, unpopular opinion, but I would actually rather have Kane just because our team is quite young and we need someone with experience, someone who's played in the Prem before. Like we've seen Timo and Havertz obviously struggle. Kovacic struggled first year. So to have someone who's played in the Prem every week, I think he would be the one. But if we didn't get him, I wouldn't be bothered. I quite like I said, I already like Havertz.
Yeah, I think the striking options in the Chelsea squad are good. It's just I feel like, say for example, if Rudiger Giroud did leave, I think you do probably need another backup.
It feels a bit unbalanced, doesn't it? At the moment, we've got Timo who can play against Liverpool, get in behind their high line. We've got Giroud who can hold the ball up against teams like West Brom who park the bus. I was going to say we got Tammy, who's kind of in between, but he's just a donkey. So
he's there for the Luton away games. He is.
Yeah, in the FA Cup. Or exactly. If he does have a good patch of form probably between October and December, and then he goes missing or picks up an injury. So he's got a bit of run of form in him, hasn't he? Just unfortunately, it's not enough when you're a big club like Chelsea looking to win the Premier League or even better like Champions League. You can't rely on Tammy Abraham.
Yeah, you can't just have someone that goes off for 3 or 4 weeks.
Exactly, mate. So looking at the grid, is there any adjustments you would like to make? Or have we got it spot on?
I think I'm quite happy with it. Obviously, we'll see what people say, but obviously, what do you think?
I'm happy with it. I am happy with it. I think that's absolutely fine. The only one which strikes out to me is Georginio, and solid player.
I'll take the heat for that.
Yeah, exactly. That's your call. I think he's kind of in between solid and average. To put him in average would probably be a bit harsh.
Yeah, and you can't put him in potential because he's a bit old. So
yeah. Exactly. But maybe you could say he's got the potential to be better, which I do think he does. But no, he's not in that category for me. But yeah, guys, cheers for listening. Let us know what you think, or if we have made any mistakes, let us know why in the comments below, or contact us on our Instagram or Twitter, which will be in the description. Thank you very much for joining me, Cheeky.
Thank you very much for having me.
I thoroughly enjoyed having you on, and I think it offered a good alternative opinion. So yeah, guys, cheers for listening, and hopefully we'll see you after Saturday's game to review hopefully a big win against West Brom. To the pip, guys.
See ya.